My name is Olamide. I'm a registered nurse. I was remanded at Suleja Correctional Facility in Niger State. I felt more safer at the correctional facility because nobody was attacking me, unlike when I was at the FCID detention. I was sprayed chemicals at midnight while I was asleep. I only felt peppery sensation from my sleep and I woke up, started coughing. Then in the morning, I had epistaxis. I was bleeding through the nose. And I felt that was as a result of the reactions of the spraying of chemicals at midnight. Because of everything that happened and all of that, they were so afraid at my place of work because on getting back, my manager told me that some police officers came to the hospital and they were misbehaving. They were videoing the surroundings of the hospital and they were threatening them that me working there again would threaten their safety. That because they were saying they came from the CP. I've stayed back since then. I've not worked since I came back from detention. I met people who are not supposed to even still remain there. Some have been on awaiting trial for as long as possible. Some have been on awaiting trial since the past 3 years, 2 years, 5 years. I know of somebody that is there. She's still on awaiting trial since the past 9 years. So they went to book a flight, then they came back for me. So we arrived at Abuja late at night. So that was when they first took us to they first took me to the NPF NCCC. So then they said they do not have the facility to keep me. It was a weekend and they were closing. So I was taken to FCID where I was detained. So at the FCID, I stayed there all through the weekend. Then on Monday when they came for me, there was a little altercation. I was asking them where were they taking me to. They said until I get there. I said, well, I am not a baby and I deserve to know where I'm being taken to so that I will know what to tell my lawyers, my team of lawyers. You cannot just keep taking me from here to there without giving me proper information. So at that moment, they had to go, they could come back. So as at that time, my lawyer was back. So as we were moving, I was talking to the lawyer. So then they said I should stop talking. And I said, no, I can't stop talking. You can't expect me to be mute without telling my lawyer my location. So there was a little resistance from me because I wanted the lawyer to know my location. So at that time, one of the officers was trying to imbibe fear in me, trying to use force. Because I see no reason a fully armed officer will now face me with a gun, cocking the gun. But I told him I was not afraid of ammunitions because our members know where I am and the public are aware of where I am. So that was when I was taken down to their office. And when we started asking who was my IPO, because I was expecting to write a statement, every one of them kept saying they were not my IPO. This one will say, she's not my IPO. That one will say, he is not my IPO. I was there till evening. So by the time the lawyer went out to get me food around past 4, that was when they called me to the office of the assistant director. They wanted to start interviewing me and I said, no, they do not have the right to interview me in the absence of my lawyer. At least they are law enforcement agents and they should not be ignorant of the law. I felt more safer at the correctional facility because nobody was attacking me, unlike when I was at the FCID detention. I was sprayed chemicals at midnight while I was asleep. I only felt peppery sensation from my sleep and I woke up, started coughing. Then in the morning, I had epistaxis. I was bleeding through the nose. And I felt that was as a result of the reactions of the spraying of chemicals at midnight. The pressure from our comrades and members of the public that now made them later charge the case to court. And besides, before that, my lawyers have sued them for fundamental human rights. They are so afraid at my place of work because on getting back, my manager told me that some police officers came to the hospital and they were misbehaving. They were videoing the surroundings of the hospital and they were threatening them that me working there again would threaten their safety. That because they were saying they came from the CP. And so I was surprised because I don't know how they got to know my place of work. Because when the assistant director of the NPF NCC was asking me, I insisted that I would not tell them anything personal about myself, which included my place of work. I did not tell them anything. So I don't know how come they got to know the police and they started threatening the management. So in order not to force them at risk, I've stayed back since then. I've not worked since I came back from detention. And I've lost a lot, of course. I know how I've been fending for myself and my family, being the breadwinner. But since I've been out of my job for now, survival became a little much more tougher. So I've been living on my savings. Suleja Correctional Facility in Niger State. So at that correctional facility, I noticed that the female facility, they have just 2 cells there. It's not spacious enough. And being an health worker, it's not the best. It's not actually advisable because people should be categorized accordingly. You understand? There are some of them that are not even psychologically balanced. There are some of them that needs rehabilitation. There are some of them, according to the crime they committed, they've lost their sanity. Everyone were jam-packed together because there are no more rooms for people to occupy. And we being political prisoners, we should be in separate places, at least not much more conducive. There were no provisions made for such. There were not even provisions made for people who need to be rehabilitated, let alone political prisoners. So it was more like jam-packing everyone together, putting everyone at risk of health problems, because there are some diseases that will easily spread like that. Once somebody is coughing, expect more people to cough. Once somebody is suffering from an ailment that needs to be isolated, expect almost every other person to pick such illness or to be affected or infected because the place is not spacious enough. And in that place too, I met people who are not supposed to even still remain there Some have been on awaiting trial for as long as possible. Some have been on awaiting trial since the past 3 years, 2 years, 5 years. I know of somebody that is there. She's still on awaiting trial since the past 9 years. I know of a girl there. Her case is a human rights related issue. She used to be an house help, and the madam said she will deal with her for allegedly dating the madam's husband, and she has been kept there because the madam is rich. And she said the police prosecutor said that's where she will die. And in Nigeria of today, where we said people should have constitutional rights, I don't seem to see that working, because it seems the law favors some sets of people while some people are being oppressed by a certain class of individuals.